So I was having a conversation the other day with my client. We were having a check-in. And she straight up said to me, she was like, I she was like, for a while, I literally thought I was making no progress. And I was sending her week in and week out. I'm like, look at this. Small change, but changes are happening. Her friends, coworkers, other people were saying that she looks better. They were asking her, what diet are you doing? What workout routine you got going on? Clothes fit different. She felt better. She was like telling me these things. She was like, I feel better. I feel more motivated. I feel more energized. But still, when she looked in the mirror, when she took her pictures, she was just convinced nothing was changing. Up until this check in where I shared the screen and she was like, holy shit. I can, like, her brain didn't lie to her this time, I guess you could say. And that just kind of goes to show that your brain can literally skew reality based on your internal feelings and emotions. There was a point in her journey, I guess you could say, where I started to notice almost an exponential rate of progress, right? It was like a little bit of progress, some progress, some progress, some progress, and then all of a sudden, boom, it took off. And so I went back to kind of look at this trend, and I noticed in a lot of her check ins and the things that she was saying were all around a lot of mental wins. She was mentioning how she gets better at handling stress, how proud she feels when she shows up for herself, even when she literally doesn't want to go. Her adherence, consistency, and discipline, all those things got better. And then next thing you know, I'm sharing the screen with her and she's like, holy shit. And so in today's video, I'm going to kind of break down the mindset that you need to be able to build so that you can achieve your goals in 2026, or essentially by the time 2026 comes, you hit that exponential rate of growth that she had hit. A lot of people don't achieve their New Year's resolutions because they start on January 1st. The people that actually achieve their New Year's resolutions or the goals that they set for the year ahead start in the current year right now. So if you start right now, you will give yourself enough time to be able to really have the mental framework to then chase those goals and actually achieve them. But if you start on January 1st, you're going to be really overwhelmed and you're probably going to give up, as most people do. I'm going to break it all down for you so you can start implementing these things literally today, because I don't like to wait for next year. I don't like to wait for Monday. I don't like to wait for any other time besides right now, because right now is the best time to start. Okay, so I've built this graph here today to kind of explain it, and then we'll ideally get you to this point here where you're exponentially growing and all of a sudden the rate at which you make progress is much faster. If I'm being 100% transparent here, this is 50% a psychological battle as it is a physical one. So training, nutrition, all those protocols, of course, extremely important. You cannot be doing the wrong things. But at the same time, if you have a shitty mindset, you're not ever going to hit this point, right? You're going to be like bouncing around between here, then you're going to fall, and you're just going to be right here, and you're going to be going up and down, but never trending upwards. That's why building the mindset is so important, because when stress comes your way, it will. You cannot avoid it. Life is going to always throw adversity at you. When you're feeling down, when you're not feeling motivated, when you are just having a low day or a bad day, you need the mindset to be able to carry you through that, or else it's going to completely destroy you, knock you down, tear you apart. And that's why most people feel burnt out, feel stuck, feel incapable, or just feel like they are at a loss, like they don't know what to do. And so if that sounds like you are most likely right down here at this point below the positive of the graph. But don't worry, you have enough time before 2026 to essentially get you right here so that once the new year hits, you'll be just on the come up. So there are essentially 4 pillars to building a strong mindset. I want you to think of your mind as your own little world or ecosystem. And I'm going to show you how to build the ultimate mental ecosystem so you get better at handling the adversity that life throws at you so that you grow at an exponential rate, because absolutely nothing can slow you down. So first, the point at which you're at is probably down here. You're realizing that, hey, maybe I'm lazy, maybe I'm inconsistent, maybe I'm not disciplined, I am mentally weak, I'm not mentally tough, I can't push myself. The list goes on, right? In order to build on top of that and start crafting that ecosystem for you so that you can reach your goals, you need to obviously realize this, which if you click this video, you have realized this and you understand that, hey, maybe I need to change some things about myself if I really do want to achieve this. You need to be brutally honest, because when you realize and you say, hey, I'm just lazy, that's really broad. It's not really honest. You're just saying I'm just lazy. Ask yourself, why am I being lazy? Why am I procrastinating starting this? Well, I don't honestly believe I'm going to be able to do it. And if I try and fail, that's going to look bad to everyone else. I'm scared that I'm going to be stuck this way forever, right? Maybe that's why you're lazy, or, you're inconsistent. Maybe you're inconsistent because you can't tolerate stress, or you're really frustrated and insecure in how your body looks right now. So when you show up for 2 days and you don't see a change, all that frustration and those feelings kind of well up in your head and you feel overwhelmed. So you're just like, I'm not going to go. And then you need to do some self-reflection. Really understand, okay, I am lazy. Why am I lazy? And analyze that. Why do you believe that you can't do it? I know I'm getting a little hyper specific and very detailed, but this is essential in being able to do the next 4 phases or the 4 pillars of building this mental ecosystem. You want your mental ecosystem to be positive, to be growing, to be thriving. And you can't create that kind of ecosystem when you have these underlying problems, which will now lead me into understanding. Now that you've kind of like unpacked and like reflected on yourself, you can then understand why you do this. So you need to fundamentally understand yourself, how you work, how you operate, and why you do the things that you do. And you won't be able to do that if you don't realize it, if you don't self-reflect, and if you aren't brutally honest. Now, digging a bit deeper into the understanding part, you need to understand yourself right here, but also the human brain, the psychology of the mind. The human brain does not like to be uncomfortable. It does not like change. It does not like challenges. It doesn't like what it perceives as a threat. You will perceive things that will yield you the most growth as a threat. I'm just telling you that now. So understanding how the human brain works and how you work is pretty much going to be the basis or the first pillar of building a strong mind or having a thriving, successful ecosystem. Because when you know you and when you know the brain, you can really start to understand why you're doing the things that you do, why you're making the decisions that you make, and then it can help you unpack and kind of dismantle the bad decisions that you make or the ones that are keeping you stuck where you currently are. But if you don't understand why things are happening, if you don't know how the brain works, how are you going to know how to tackle the problem? You're not. You're going to think everything is true that your brain is telling you. You're going to think that all the patterns and habits that you have are just inherent to you, and that's just how you were born, and you're stuck that way. But there is a rhyme and a reason to every single thing that happens. Do not just accept things, especially if you do not like them. So if you don't like that you're lazy, unpack why you are lazy. What is making you do that? And then also analyze the brain. Why does the brain want to be lazy? What is it fearing? What is threatening it right now? And in that case scenario, it's most likely a threat of action or a threat of difficulty or a lack of certainty, because the brain also doesn't like uncertainty. So once you understand yourself and you understand how the human brain works, we can now get into perspective. Now, when it comes to perspective, I want you to imagine this as a pair of glasses that you wear all the time for the rest of your life, right? It's the lens at which you view life. Now, the reason why this is so important is because the type of glasses you wear honestly dictates what you see. So the perspective I want you to essentially view everything that happens to you in life through is that of a challenge. So psychologically, when the brain perceives something as a threat, it doesn't perform as well. Versus when it perceives it as a challenge or an opportunity, it does much better because it's a much more positive outlook on the problem in and of itself. So the normal human nature of the human brain doesn't react well when things don't go according to plan, when hardship hits or adversity hits, and it tends to make the person want to cower down, run away, hide. And that's exactly why a lot of people aren't growing, or they never reach that rate of exponential growth, because those moments where you are essentially kicked on your ass by life are the ones that yield you the growth and build that strong mind to help you then get to that exponential point. But if you always run from it, as the human brain wants to, you always hide from it, you always avoid it, you always distract yourself from it, you cannot grow from it. You're robbing yourself from the growth. Now, in order to receive the growth, you must experience the pain, but nobody wants to do that because it's hard. And that is the perspective you need to take when these things happen. A lot of difficult things and tough situations happen to people, and the world is completely rocked, which is fine, but you need to be able to remain steady and control your reactions when those things happen. This applies to things like breakups, maybe you lose your job, maybe things don't work out in your favor, maybe you're wondering how the fuck you're going to make this work. All those things that would typically threaten the human brain and cause it to cower down, you need to perceive them as a challenge. How am I going to make this work? How can I make the best out of this situation? What is in my control? When you view things that happen to you, mostly bad things or things that you probably wouldn't willingly want to experience, as a challenge, as an opportunity for growth, it's a much more positive journey, and it can help you build a stronger mind. And so that's the perspective that you need to essentially carry into the next pillar that I'm going to show you. Because in all honesty, your perspective dictates the body that you have, the life that you live, the things that you accomplish. Because if everything happens to you and you view it as a threat and you run away, you will never be able to get the opportunity to build a strong mind that can carry you to multiple different goals, not even just a fitness goal, but all goals. And if you don't have this perspective, I want you to remember that the human brain does not like things that are threatening, does not like hard things. And so when you don't change the way that your brain perceives these opportunities, it will see them as threats and not as what they really are, and that is opportunities to grow. All right, that will lead me into the third pillar. I want you to imagine it like this. Let's say you're playing a video game, and you're playing in the game, but you're also the person on the couch with the controller. That is the best analogy that I can have for compartmentalization. There's you in the game that is getting shot at, that is sprinting, that is tired, that is losing health, that is jumping off cliffs, whatever you're doing, and it's feeling all those things. It's maybe nervous that it's going to get killed or that it won't win. But then there's you on the couch who is secure in the plan, who knows the levels, who can look at a bird's eye view and see everything clearly and can think very logically because they're not experiencing the emotions or the stress or the threats in the game. This part is essential because we cannot make decisions based off of emotion. Making decisions based off of your emotion, like an example of making decisions based off of your emotion in your fitness journey would be, okay, you start with a very low calorie deficit, you do 2 hours of cardio, and you train maybe 7 days a week, right? So you're trying to do a lot because you're rooted in insecurity. Is that the most logical way to go? No, no way in hell I would ever program that for somebody. But because you're insecure, you're frustrated, you want fast results, so you're impatient, you're making decisions based on those feelings rather than the logical way or approach. And when I say this, I'm not saying that you can't feel insecurities. I'm not saying that you're all of a sudden going to be numb to emotion. You need to be able to feel things that are gut wrenching, feel so upset and disappointed in yourself when you look in the mirror that you want to cry, and still be able to make the right decisions with your food, with your training, and with your life. You need to be able to feel some things that literally rip your heart apart, put a pit in your stomach, and still be able to say, I'm going to move with logic and reason. Because when you look at the path towards your goals, it is logical and it is reasonable. The only reason why anyone can't make it is because they're lacking in one of these pillars, and this is one of the hardest ones to do. Sometimes life is going to knock you on the ass. You're going to feel all these feelings, but you have to take that shit on the fucking chin. You got to take it on the chin and keep moving forward. This is why compartmentalization is essential. But because a lot of people don't fundamentally understand themselves, they have a poor perspective, it's really hard for them to be able to see the distinction between logic and feelings. This line is blurred for them. It's not as clean cut. And that will lead me to the final pillar before you are able to grow at an exponential rate. And this is leadership. Now, I chose this specific picture because this is internal leadership. It is no one else's responsibility or fucking problem that you're not where you want to be, that things aren't working out for you, and no one is going to come and help you. No one is going to come and say, hey, I see your potential, you need to go chase it, or you need to be doing better. Rarely are you ever going to have friends or family members that give a damn about you like that. So don't ever think that someone's going to come help you or solve it. Every excuse that you give yourself is you just not holding yourself accountable. Because no matter how valid your excuses are, you don't have time. You got a lot to do. You got a lot of responsibilities. You're tired. You're frustrated. You don't want to do it. Whatever. You're scared. Whatever it is, doesn't change where you want to be, correct? No matter how valid they are, right? Maybe you are really busy. Maybe you have 2 kids. Maybe you have a family. Maybe you have 3 jobs, whatever. Still doesn't change that you are here and you want to be up here. Doesn't change that at all. So you saying these excuses and accepting them just is making you have to suffer in the current position at which you're at because you know you don't want to be here. You know you don't want that. You are the only person who can lead you where you want to be because you are in your mind. You can see through your bullshit. You can see the excuses that you're making. Most people are just blind to it because they're trying to fucking cope with where they are. The audacity to cope with where you are, but then know deep down that you want better. You are ruining yourself. You are causing the suffering for yourself. Building internal leadership is the pinnacle of self-confidence because no matter how hard you get knocked down, no matter how tough life gets, no matter how far you fall, you know within yourself that you will always be able to lead yourself out. Just because I make videos like this and I talk about building a strong mind doesn't mean that I don't go through shit. I just posted a video the other day where I talked about some of the toughest, gut-wrenching periods of my life, and the only thing that kept me moving forward was being able to lead myself. If you do not have that, you will go nowhere because you will get knocked down and you won't know what to do. You won't know where to turn. You won't know where to look. You will just be looking for someone to help you and no one is fucking coming. In order to be able to internally lead, you need to know yourself because how can you lead someone if you don't know them? Which is why step 1 or the first pillar is essential. You need to have a good perspective because when adversity comes your way, you cannot let that ruin your morale. You need to be able to compartmentalize your brain because you will feel a lot of things, especially on the journey to be successful in any realm, right? Transforming your body, transforming your life, becoming better. It will be hard. That is the cost of becoming better. You need to be able to feel stress, suffering, pain, difficulty, and move with logic and reason at all times. Once you've done those 3 things, you have the foundation of being able to internally lead yourself because you have all the tools necessary to know exactly how to navigate your shortcomings, your problems, why you do the things that you do, and know what to do when things get tough. After that 4th pillar, that will lead me into the rate at which you will exponentially grow. And the reason why exponential growth happens at this point is because you have a mental ecosystem or a mind that is equipped to handle literally any fucking problem or any hardship. No matter how hard you get knocked down, you have every tool necessary to be able to dismantle the problem, solve it, and move forward. And not only am I saying this because I did this process for myself, But also all of my clients are a point somewhere on this graph, if not already at the exponential rate. So if you want to make 2026 your year and you want to make faster progress than most people, you need to start now and craft this mental ecosystem so that you can handle any problems that life throws your way. And that is everything that I have for you guys today. If you want me to coach you through this, I will leave the application in the description of this video. And if you're a good fit and spots are available, I will get back to you. If you have any questions or anything like that, I will leave my Instagram in the description as well, and I will get back to you with a voice message. 2026 is right around the corner. Remember, you cannot save time. You can only spend it, so quit for the love of God fucking wasting it. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do hard shit, be confident, have the courage to be uncomfortable. But most importantly, do not forget how much I'm rooting for you guys and how much I love you guys. I will see you guys in the next video.